Legacy is one of the most misunderstood words in leadership. We tend to think of it as something that happens at the very end, a tribute or a summary of what we've accomplished in our lives. But that's not actually how legacy works. It's not what you leave behind. Legacy is what you're modeling right now, in how you lead, in what you protect, and in who you're still making room for while you hold power. And this is where conscious leadership becomes essential, because legacy that lasts doesn't come from ambition alone. It comes from awareness. It comes from leading from a place of wholeness rather than fear, from building out of values rather than your ego, from asking consistently and honestly, what am I actually modeling here? And who will be able to build because I led the way? Black leadership history offers some of the clearest instruction on this. And it's not because Black leaders happen to think about legacy because they had to, because when you're leading inside systems that are designed to erase you, legacy isn't a luxury, it's a strategy, it's an act of resistance. And you can build what can outlive your presence because your presence was never guaranteed. And that's why the leaders that we remember didn't just achieve, they transferred. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just march for the moment. He helped create laws, movements, and moral frameworks that could reshape the future without him. He knew the work had to survive his body. John Lewis didn't make good trouble for his generation. He modeled how courage, discipline, and love could guide leaders long after he was gone. He mentored, he testified, he showed up for decades so that others would know what showing up looked like. Mary McLeod Bethune didn't just advocate for education. She built institutions that made it accessible, knowing that her voice alone wasn't enough. The school had to stand when she no longer could. Madam C.J. Walker didn't just build wealth. She built an infrastructure, opportunity, mentorship, a culture of Black entrepreneurship and giving that others could inherit and extend. Their leadership wasn't only impactful, it was transferable. And that distinction matters. This is what conscious leadership understands, that ego-driven leadership doesn't. The goal isn't to be irreplaceable. The goal is to make your values, your standards, your visions so embedded in others that the work can grow beyond your hands. And that requires a kind of leadership that honestly most people resist, because it means developing others instead of hoarding power. It means mentoring without needing credit. It means building ladders and not pedestals. We see this same principle in modern movements. The leaders who co-founded Black Lives Matter intentionally decentralized leadership, ensuring that the movement could grow, adapt, and survive beyond any single person. And that's not by accident, that's legacy by design. It comes from a conscious choice. If the work can't continue without me, it isn't sustainable. And if it isn't sustainable, I'm building a monument, not a movement. So the question becomes deeply personal. What values are you modeling that others will inherit? Not because you told them to, but because they watched you. What systems are you strengthening or weakening by how you lead? And who are you mentoring, amplifying, or preparing to lead after you? And do they know it? Legacy isn't something that you think about at the end of your career. It's something that you practice right now, in your policy decisions, in who you make room for, in whether you choose short-term comfort or long-term equity. Black leadership history reminds us that the most powerful leaders don't just win, they build what lasts. They lead with the long-term game in mind, and not for their own elevation, but for the next generations. This is conscious leadership. It's legacy that lives beyond you.